Gettin geek. Gettin geek. Gettin geek with Danny Allen. Gettin geek. Gettin geek. Gettin geek with Danny Allen.
Alright. It's another episode of Getting Geeked with your boy, Danny Allen. That's me, your host. It is episode 9 of Getting Geeked. 9 episodes of all this HBO Max drama. Ezra Miller drama. We have the Cobra Kai trailer coming up. The review, I should say. I'm breaking down a little bit of She-Hulk. Watch the first episode of She-Hulk. Then I'm going to talk about This Fool on Hulu. A surprising show, I must add. And then we got a little bit of Westworld season finale. I forgot all about that show. Let's get into this stuff. Coming up on Getting Geeked. Brought to you by geekedmedia.com. Check it out. I revamped the website. It's basically it goes right to the YouTube channel is basically the live feed of the YouTube channel is on the homepage now. So I want the podcast to be the main hub of what Geeked Media is. Geeked Media is going to be a extension of the podcast. So yeah, geekedmedia.com. Check it out. Subscribe. Okay, we need to talk about Ezra Miller. But I think this topic is interesting to talk about because Ezra Miller is in a weird place right now, mentally, legally, and Warner Brothers has a lot of money invested into this Flash movie. So they gave him the 3 options that I discussed last week: seek treatment, put out a statement, and then he'll be able to do the press tour and he'll get to be the Flash. Option 2 was they're just gonna release the movie when it was coming out. He would get recast and he wouldn't do any press at all. It would just come out. Third option was they were gonna scrap the movie completely. So now we know that Warner Brothers picked, or I should say Ezra and Warner Brothers, they both picked option 1, which he announced. He gave a whole apology. And the internet is either loving it or hating it. A lot of people aren't buying it. It's PR, blah, blah, blah. Some people are taking it at his word because the rumor is, we don't really know, there was a death in his family, super close to him. You can look all that stuff up. And it's just one of those things. And he's got arrested multiple times. I said that, hey, if Robert Downey Jr. can come back, then so can Ezra. We are a year away from the Flash movie. So I think he is in a good position because he is a year away from this movie. So if he can keep his head down and just do the work for the next year, if he can get his life back on track, then I think that Warner Brothers is going to be happy with keeping him as the Flash, because ultimately that movie's getting rave reviews. They're saying he does a really good job in that role in the movie. And I don't think at this point they've made their decision. They're going to keep Ezra Miller. Now, if he messes up later on down the line this next year, that might change. My opinion might change. So you can think whatever you want about the PR, his apology, and the PR behind all that stuff. Bottom line is they picked option A, which was to keep Ezra if he got treatment. The only one of those options that said recast the Flash was option 2. So if we look at that at face value, those options, Warner Brothers is happy with Ezra as the Flash. They don't want to recast him because he's good, and that's fine. When this movie comes out, just like I said last week, if this movie comes out and the Flash is dope, and then they recast him, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to be pissed, because a lot of people, the general population, many YouTubers have been saying this. Christian Harloff, many people don't know who Ezra. They don't know what's going on with Ezra. Some people don't even know who Ezra Miller is. Like normal people, you can pull anybody off the street and ask them who Ezra Miller is. Dude, the chances are they're not going to know who he is. We are in a bubble of entertainment, superhero movies, and all this stuff. We're in a bubble. We are maybe 10% of the general population, which is really weird because that's the scope of that. Because our community seems so large when when it comes down to it, we are very small. So, very interesting. What do you guys think about Ezra Miller? Will he still be the Flash after this movie gets released? Will he fuck up again in the next year? Find out next week on Dragon Ball Z. Okay, I just had to say that. I'm debating on going to see the new Dragon Ball movie, superhero. I hear it's good. I went to the Broly one, but if I'm going to go, I'm going to have to get my tickets soon. Is it like one night only? If it's a one night only thing, I might miss it. So, anyways, that's not even on the list. Ezra Miller. Boom. Coming up next on Gettin Geeked. HBO Max, of course. Okay. A lot of people in the community, they're not liking what David Zaslav is doing. He's coming in, he's swinging that axe. He's murking content. He's pulling content. It was just announced yesterday on HBO Max. Apparently, they're starting to remove 36 titles. It's like cartoons, animation, movies that weren't lit. And Twitter has something to say about it. Many of the creators themselves are coming out and saying, "We worked 5 years on this show and we deserve it. It deserves to be seen." And coming from a creator's standpoint, like I totally support that. I would be pissed if I spent 5 years working on like a project. Like if I spent a year working on my album, my music album, and for some reason, if like I couldn't have that ability to release it for some reason, I would be really upset. So for somebody that's gonna work so long on a project from a creative standpoint, yeah, that sucks, dude. Like you put a lot of work into it. But also, you have to look at it from a business perspective, which is what Zaslav is doing. Who greenlit those shows to begin with? Who paid for those shows to be made to begin with? I would like to know if some of these shows that were getting pulled, were they, did these creators like sell them? Did they? No, I'm pretty sure they didn't. They didn't make the show first and then get bought by HBO Max. I'm pretty sure all these shows that are getting canceled, they were bought and paid for by HBO Max. So when it comes down to it, it's not their content that they're creating. They're working on that project, but it's not their, unless it's in their contract that like they own all the rights or whatever. And in that case, they can take their project back, sell it to Netflix. But whatever the kind of deal these people made with HBO Max and Warner Brothers or whoever, if they sold their shares to that property, whether they pitched them an idea to a show, then that's on the creators for making a bad deal, dude. If I got the chance to pitch a show to like Adult Swim and it was gonna be on HBO Max, I would have to have a clause in there or something where if this content gets pulled, I want to be able to, because it's my content. If I'm pitching a show, if it gets pulled, I want the rights to be able to go and sell it off to another or lease it out to another streamer. I don't know what's going on with the creators of all these shows, to be honest. I read into the article and it said they're getting rid of 36 shows. There's a whole list. And to be honest, I've only heard of the Aquaman cartoon out of that whole list. 36 titles, and I've only heard of the Aquaman cartoon. And I watched 3 episodes of that, and it was bad, dude. It was bad. But it's not for me. Objectively, from what I normally watch, that animation wasn't a good animation. So it looked cool, the animation looked cool, but the humor it wasn't for me, you know. So that's what's subjective about it. So yeah, from a creative standpoint, it sucks. It sucks to have your project canceled, especially if you're working like 5 years on it. But when it comes down to it, who's paying for it, and what did your deal say in the contracts? You got paid for those 5 years. You know, you had to work. You're still putting in work, so you know it's not your fault. So you'll be able to get other work elsewhere. And it sucks, man. Transition periods suck for merging companies. This happened with the Disney Fox merger. We lost a lot of content. We were supposed to have an X-Force movie. Gambit was supposed to film. They had the sets built, the locations already like available. They were weeks away from filming, and it just got shut down. So shit happens, guys. You can't take this stuff personally. It's business, and these creators, these writers, they have deals with these people, and so they know if they're gonna get. They'll know if they'll get a cut or whatever. If they'll get bought out or something. It's you negotiate. You know, negotiate. It's a business. It's show friends. It's not show friends. It's show business, as Robert Nett would say. So yes, what do you guys think about HBO Max? This merger. How do you think David Zaslav is handling this stuff? He's ruling with an iron fist right now. He's like the Doctor Doom of Warner Brothers. He doesn't care. He has his plan. He wants to save money. Those shows they didn't want to cut out the residuals to those shows. Apparently, it was losing. They weren't making enough to garner that. I didn't think that you get residuals on a streaming show, but that's what the article said. I assumed like when they pulled American Pickle, it says that it said this was like another article about the removal of content. It said American Pickle, it wasn't getting enough viewership, and it was costing HBO Max money to keep it on HBO Max. So why would they keep paying to keep something on their platform that's not getting them anything? They need to cut the fat. They need to take it off. I liked American Pickle. It was a fine movie. I only watched it the one time. It's not something you can rewatch. So, yeah. It may seem like the Red Wedding right now over at Warner Brothers. Hey, and it could be you either liked Game of Thrones after the Red Wedding or you didn't. It's just one of those things. Hopefully Warner Brothers, they handle it better later down the line. Like it'll be a couple of years until we see like what's really going on, and see if the content he is in charge of is really going to affect any like the long run. Like we'll see what happens. Like 2 years from now, DC could be back on track, making a bunch of Justice League movies and all this stuff. So I don't know. Warner Brothers is in a very, like I said, it's a transitional period for Warner Brothers. Jobs are getting cut. Content's getting pulled because they are merging with Discovery. But overall, I think that's a good thing because I don't want to pay for a bunch of streaming services. I want Hulu and Disney Plus to combine into one service. I want like Disney Discovery and HBO Max now, one service. I want everything in one spot. I remember when it was just Netflix and you could still order the DVDs, and there was a bunch of unknown independent movies on Netflix, and you could watch Netflix on like a Wii console. Like, we've grown so much in 10 years with streaming, and there's just so many options for different types of content. But I think it's necessary to put out quality content because nobody wants to spend fucking 2 hours finding something good to watch. It should all be fire. Netflix it was like peak. HBO Max has great content, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Out of all that whole list of 36 titles, I watch a lot of stuff. I've only heard of the Aquaman show. So I don't know. Are you guys upset? Was your favorite show canceled on HBO Max? Let me know in the comments. Let me hear it. What show was on there, and tell me why it was so good that it shouldn't have gotten pulled. Let me know. Coming up next, Cobra Kai. Let's go. season 5 already? Sheesh! Season 5 of Cobra Kai. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I love Terry Silver. He's like the best 80s villain that I could think of. The fact that they're leaning into Terry Silver this season is dope, sick. But something was off about this trailer. I'm not going to lie. Maybe it's because the Karate Kid was so small in scale with just the core cast, and now that it's so huge with season 5, dojos all over the place, lots of students I should say. It's just the scale is crazy now. Maybe I prefer it to be a little smaller as far as the story goes. I know they're introducing new senseis. Cool. I don't like the idea that Chosen is gonna join to team up against, it's like they're, I don't know. I don't like that idea. I think his story was already finished, and they should have just moved on to Terry and solely Terry versus Daniel, just so it gets a little more personal. But I understand, like, you want the scale and bring everybody back. You know what? Do it while you can. That's what I always say. So, like, when it comes down to it, I'm just nitpicking because Cobra Kai is probably one of the best shows on TV right now. If that's all, that I'm biased because the Karate Kid is super close to mine. So, like the Karate Kid is one of the first movies I've ever seen. So, definitely some bias when it comes to my love for Cobra Kai. I like the fighting, super exaggerated. I love it. Faster's better. Like the prequels, lightsaber action. Let's go. It's super metal. As far as like where Kreese is in prison, it sucks that fucking Terry did that to him. But ultimately, I think he's gonna get out. I think he's gonna end up paying for. Karma's a bitch, Karma's coming for Terry Silver. His turn in the last season was very odd, dude, because it seemed like Kreese got under your skin. That's what it was. I don't think he had all those years of being straight edge, like reformed, that he's in his old age, so Kreese can get under his skin. So he wants to feel young again. I feel like that's the angle they're going to go. I think they're going to lean into that villain nature for Terry this season, but ultimately I think he's going to come to terms with his actions, and he's probably going to go back to prison, or he's going to go to prison, I would say, and Kreese is going to get out. We'll see what happens. I don't know if season 6 is a for sure thing, but at this point with Cobra Kai, they've given me so much great content, and I've gotten so much out of what those characters have given so far. If this was the last season, I would be cool with it. Because we are getting to a point where we've seen all these characters now doing their thing. We know where they're at. I don't want them to overstay the welcome, but if they get a season 6, it should be the last season, in my opinion. 6 seasons is a good run. What do you guys think about this Cobra Kai trailer? I liked it, except for the scale issues. I think it's a little too huge, but they can win me over. Coming from a Karate Kid fan. We'll see. Tell me what you guys think about Cobra Kai. Let's go. September. Let's go. I'm here for it. And Johnny's not even a sensei no more, so that's the whole thing. And then we know, like, Miguel's not in Mexico anymore from this trailer, so I think that whole Mexico thing's gonna tie up in the first episode, and then he's gonna be back. So, Cobra Kai, let's go. Coming up next on Getting Geeked with your boy, with me, Danny D. She-Hulk. Yes, I said I watched the first episode of She-Hulk. I stayed up on fucking, not last night, Wednesday at midnight? No, Tuesday night. For some reason, I thought it was Wednesday at midnight, so I stayed up, and it wasn't there. I was pissed. So I saw it. When it comes down to it, it's out, and I like it. I don't know if I love it. I've been rewatching the Incredible Hulk animation, the cartoon from the 90s, because I know She-Hulk has a huge part of that. Even season 2, they renamed it the Incredible Hulk and She-Hulk. So I've been watching all the Jennifer Walters episodes just to see if they kind of reference those as like Easter eggs or whatever, and they definitely did. I'll go into some spoilers, so if you haven't seen She-Hulk, watch it. I'm going to go into spoilers for this episode, so fast forward to this part if you don't want to listen to it. Okay, so the humor is fine. I like it. We know that it's going to be funny. Fine. The action, it's fine. It's not. That's what I'm saying. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Nothing's wowing me, dude. We're only in one episode, 30 minutes, and for the first pilot, this is the pilot, so they're introducing Hulk, the lawyer stuff, her training, her getting her abilities, all in the first episode. And I think they skipped around a lot. They breezed they breezed through her getting infected. They breezed through her training. They breezed through her dealing with being changed, like physically and mentally. Well, not really mentally. And I just don't think, like, they didn't take their time, it seems, because they want to get to the lawyer stuff, and she wants to get. She doesn't even want to accept that's happening, which is probably why it seems off. I just think the pacing was a little weird, and the editing, what they chose to focus on, it just ended abruptly. She's in the courtroom, and then boom, 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 and it's over. When most of this episode was her training with Bruce, which was a highlight. They should have leaned into that the whole episode. She was in a hurry to get back to LA or whatever, get back to her job. I just think the lead up to that, her dealing with it, could have been expanded on. But it's basically a Cliff Notes version, because she broke the fourth wall trying to get us caught up to speed. And they make her not like a Mary Sue. Well, she is like a Mary Sue, because Hulk is like, I spent 15 years writing this syllabus, and he's like unknowingly to try to maintain where I am and being a Hulk. Like he was trying to like show her, like, yo, this took time. I spent 15 years of my life getting this on track. And then you just think you can go out in the world and put people in danger, because that's what he thinks. Like, yo, when you Hulk out, you can put people in danger, which is, he's not wrong. But she's so skilled already inherently in her DNA, because that's why Bruce's arm is better, because her DNA is better adaptable, or whatever the plot line they said. And it's just what they choose to do with the Hulk, and like, yo, your 15 years is not important. I can maintain my mind and my physicality, and I don't have an alter ego. I just think it was very a little heavy-handed on the superior Hulk, when Bruce has put in that work. He's earned it, you know. Jennifer, her as a character, she's a cocky character. As far as even in the animation, even not anime, I keep on saying anime, even in the cartoon. So, but the way she's infected and the way that they let Bruce get cut, like, usually his skin is indestructible, and he has this device on his arm. Oh, it makes me be able to be in my human form. But I don't think he mentioned anything about being in my human form and being vulnerable. Those are two different things. Because before, Hulk was in his human form, but he still wasn't vulnerable. If he were to get thrown off a building, he could land hard in the concrete in human form and still be fine. But since he had that little bracelet that little IV pack thingy on his arm, all of a sudden he's vulnerable and can get cut up and injured in a car accident. Enough so he can bleed into Jennifer's open wound and infect her. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Hulk being that vulnerable. Being that vulnerable with only having that wristband that we really don't know anything about. And that's just me getting really geeky and nitpicky with the plot device they chose to use. It's just from previous incarnations of the Hulk, he's indestructible. In and out of the Hulk form. So yeah, that's like the only thing that really bugged me about the whole show. I'm like, well, how the fuck? Because in the cartoon, Jennifer is in a car crash just like this show, and she needs a blood transfusion in the show, and nobody else was around, and there was no blood available, so Hulk had no choice but to give his own blood. But we don't know, like in that show, they didn't establish that like he can use an IV or whatever. So in this show, it's on accident. She gets infected on accident, which was it's like the complete opposite. And it did work and it didn't work for me for the reasons that I just said. We don't know why he's not indestructible just because he has that apparatus. And then he said it doesn't even work now. So I don't know. And then they flew past the fact that, oh, when you were sleeping, I merged myself into, I healed myself and this and this. Like they're telling us what's going on and not showing us. So the She-Hulk show, I was like, I'm only really watching it for the cameos because they said there's some sick cameos in it. I was never a huge She-Hulk fan. I'm a fan of the character, but it's not like I'm like, oh, She-Hulk. They're gonna have to win me over because Daredevil had some really good courtroom drama, and the fact that they're going towards this comedy angle, which is fine, that's fine. They're gonna have to really win me over these next few episodes. I'm interested because she operates out of LA, and Daredevil is New York. So is he gonna go on vacation in his gear? Like, what's going on with that? Lots of questions. But I will give the show this. Mark Ruffalo and Tatiana Maslany have wonderful chemistry. Going back and forth. All that stuff was great. It's just that I think the pacing was what really bugged me about the show. The pacing problems. And just breezing by crucial plot developments, like character development stuff. But I am not easy to please with that kind of stuff. Like I love Zack Snyder's Justice League just because it's a 4-hour cut and you can really take your time, let the characters breathe. We don't have that luxury with Disney Plus, and they love their 30-minute episodes weekly. Like, just drop all the episodes of She-Hulk at once. Let me watch it. You gave all these critics 4 episodes to review in advance, while all of us, we get 1 episode a week. We can't judge the show off of 4 episodes. So they're getting like the first wave of reviews were like super fire. That's only because they already got to watch the first 4 episodes. So then I only can judge it off the first episode, which is 30 minutes. So I just don't think that's a smart strategy. Like, either drop the 4 episodes at once or don't. What did you think of She-Hulk? Let me know in the comments. Coming up next, what else we got? Oh, this fool. Hulu. I always go to Hulu because that's like the least, like, I don't use Hulu a lot, and I have it bundled with HBO Max. So when I scroll Hulu, I watch like American Horror Stories, the second season. Been watching that. What the fuck? I can't. I rewatch episodes of Smallville. I watch. I'm very selective on Hulu because most of their stuff is either on Disney Plus or on HBO Max, and it's kind of a in the middle app for me. But I scrolled past this show called This Fool. It's based on this family in Los Angeles, in LA. The dynamic between the cousins is what makes the show work for me. I have uncles that are just like that, and it's just very relatable. As far as the writing goes, it's almost a parody, and that's where it almost lost me. I watched the first 3 episodes, and I kind of just shrugged it off and turned it off and went to do something else. And then I went back and I restarted it, and then I finished the whole season. And it's borderline not disrespectful, but they're choosing to show this cholo narrative and this whole the gangbanger angle of being Hispanic, and a lot of people in the Hispanic community don't like to focus on that because they get stereotyped a lot in movies, and like, well, we're not all gangbangers and cartel members, and we're not all like, you know what I'm saying? So this show, it took that concept of gangbanging and but they flipped it, and it's about a gangbanger getting out and realizing in the world, like, the world's not the same. So there's some real heart in this show, and the humor is super, like, I wouldn't say dumbed down, but it's just real. It's real humor. This is how people really are. So I thought it was like, is this a fucking parody? Are they? And then I'm like, no, this is like really funny shit. And then it takes itself seriously at moments, and it's like really saying some shit. This dude, he went to the group therapy session talking about Austin Powers, and he's like, oh, Austin Powers changed my life, and it's modern times now, so everybody they don't give a fuck about Austin Powers. Like, what are you talking about? But he was able to say some real shit about Austin Powers. So This Fool, I highly recommend watching. It was definitely a highlight because I didn't watch any trailers for it. It's just one of those shows that was on there, and I'm like, is this a week to week thing or is it already out? All I know is there's 10 episodes. I don't know if there's any more. It was really surprising, and I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's not like my favorite show of the year, but I was laughing out loud a lot. So if you like funny shit, and I love that it's rated M for mature, or MA, yeah, for television, MA, rated R. I'm tired of these fucking comedies that are PG-13. They're holding back. It's obviously they're holding back. They just really went for it, and I don't know if they're gonna get a season 2 or not. We'll see. This Fool. Have you seen This Fool? Let me know if you liked it. Comment below, and tell me what you guys thought about the dynamic between the humor and the serious nature of the show, because that's like a real serious topic about the community and whether, like, doing a betray the stereotypes. I think they did a good job. There was a fine balance to ride, and I think they did pretty good. So let me know what you guys thought about This Fool. Coming up next on Getting Geeked with your boy, we need to talk about Westworld, guys. Westworld. Yeah, do you guys remember that show about the robots in the West? I totally forgot. We got a whole season. I binged the whole season this past weekend, and I was so fucking lost. I'm not even gonna lie. I was so lost. My lady came in there, 'cause she's already watched it, and I was telling her, I'm like, you need to give me the recap, because even me watching these recaps, I'm like, what the fuck? What am I watching? I thought that Hale chick was the main Dolores for like half the fucking first season, or not the first season, half of this season. I thought the Hale chick was the real Dolores, and my lady's like, no, she's the evil version. I'm like, oh, that right, because they split her, right? And then the Man in Black. Let me tell you why I watched it. I wanted to see the ending. I wanted it to end because I'm like, I don't know if this is the last season or not, but I need everybody back in the West. I need to see Cyclops, my boy James Marsden, and I need to see Dolores living happily ever after in the West. That's what I wanted to see, and we kind of got a variation of that, but we didn't. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm spoiling the shit out of this show. We're 4 seasons in. It took 3 years to make another one. That's why I like the show, Dolores, Teddy, and the Man in Black. That whole arc is why I stuck around with the show. And what's homeboy's name? Arnold? Bernard? Was it? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. Commissioner Gordon, when he found out that all these, he's like Doctor Strange now for some reason. All these scenarios, I know I'm gonna die. It's like, really, dude? Like, this, this is how you're gonna do him? Like I just thought it was a cop-out ending for him. He knew the whole time, and he was planning shit everywhere. It's like, yeah, I get the reveal. I get that. He's planning stuff, and he already knew it was gonna happen. Or maybe he should have told people. Maybe he should have fucking tried it anyways. Tried a different way. I don't know. And then the way they did the Man in Black dirty as well. Everybody did dirty, dude. Because, and then all of a sudden Dolores gets to go to the superb, or yeah, what do you call it? Superb, the realm, the happy place. She gets to go she caused all this shit in the real world, and then she goes right back to fucking a fake reality, and she gets to live happily ever after. I don't know, dude. I'm just all over the place with Westworld. Soon as the real Hale got killed, like I said, I'm all over the place with Westworld. Soon as the real Hale died, I was like, it just ruined it for me. Because, like, alright, she's not real. She's not real. Aaron Paul isn't real. Nobody's real. Man in Black isn't real. He's got a clone now. It just loses the value and the stakes to me because they're not the real people. And then by having, and then James Marsden, dude, like, they don't want to pay him or what? They don't want to. He was barely in the season. When he was here, he was wearing like a leather jacket. Seemed like he just got off his motorcycle, and like, they don't pay me enough to be here. I'm gonna be here in my own shit that I'm wearing. Like, he walked onto the show. And it feels like he wasn't really a part of the show anymore, and their whole dynamic was the core reason why I'm watching the show. And that's my boy, James Marsden, Cyclops. It's my boy. So I just think they did his character dirty overall. He didn't have the cognizance like Dolores did or Bernard did, I should say. You know, he never got to develop like the rest of the androids or whatever they're called did. Everybody else gets to transfer bodies and level up and evolve. And even Aaron Paul, he wasn't even an original character, and they're leaning into his character more than Teddy. And like, why are you doing that? Teddy's one of the core characters. And I like Aaron Paul. His character was cool. And I found out that he had fucking 20 versions of himself. He's like Alice in Resident Evil. After a while, it's like, bro, you're not even the original. You're like number 25. And that's what he told his daughter. He's like, I'm not even your dad. Like, your dad's gone, bro. I'm number 25. I don't know. Maybe this is, I'm missing something. But the pacing sucked. I tried to watch Westworld like 3 separate times this last season, and I just couldn't keep my attention, dude. I was like, and I like slow shit. But I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What am I watching? Dolores is walking around or sleeping the whole time. I'm like, what the fuck? Bernard's always in the desert. I hope his name's Bernard. I'm calling this fool Bernard. Commissioner Gordon. I don't know. Like, it's been 3 years, and I'm not rewatching all of Westworld. It was confusing, guys. I understand. By the time we got to the finale, I was like, okay, I get what's going on. I get it. Totally ruined planet Earth, but I get what they did. They're going back. Except now they're like in a video game server. They went from being like real animatronic sentient robots to now they're in a server. A real human that's been super far away can come and just take an axe to the whole server. Ah! And now you don't have a Westworld anymore. I just think and it just ended weird. Like, it ended on a downer. It kind of seemed like an Empire Strikes Back situation. Like, everybody lost when it comes down to it. You have some of those people in the server, but really, they all lost. There's nothing left. They're on a loop now, forever. They're back to where they started, kind of. Less in control, even, because they can't leave. At least when they reset themselves in Westworld previously, their minds were wiped, and they were only getting like flashes of like what's going on, you know. So, I don't know. Westworld. What did you think of Westworld? Comment below. Let me know what you guys think about the season finale. Will there be another season of Westworld? Find out in 3 years. No, I have no idea. That's going to wrap up episode 9. Getting Geeked with your boy, Danny Allen. Episode 9. Let me know. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this Ezra stuff. Let me recap. Ezra Miller, HBO Max content. Are you mad? Did your favorite show get pulled? What do you think of Cobra Kai? Are they going too big with it? They're in their season 5. You know, they're peaking. They're at their peak. Firing on all cylinders. She-Hulk. I liked it. I didn't love it. I think it's gonna be good. I'm gonna keep watching, and I'm gonna try to enjoy it. I'm not gonna be a hater. I'm not drinking the haterade this time. I want to love She-Hulk. This fool, have you seen it? What do you think? Is it too funny for its own good? Westworld. What do you think? Was it slow? It looked visually, it was good. What do you guys think? Let me know. Episode 9 of Getting Geeked with your boy, Danny Allen. Let's go. Episode 9. Have a good night. Go fuck yourself.
Getting geeked. Getting geeked. Getting geeked with Danny Allen. Getting geeked. Getting geeked. Getting geeked with Danny Allen.